Life, mental illnesses, testicles, apples, love,
politics,
global hunger,
video games,
premature ejaculation.
Words of wisdom.
Hello friends, welcome to another episode of I Play Games and Film It. Welcome to Words of Wisdom, week 8. We've actually managed to make it through 2 whole months of Words of Wisdom, and I'm so happy about that. Thank you guys, thank you again for staying curious, I suppose. So, on to the first question without further ado. First question comes in from Alex B, who asks, why is it okay for guys to show their nipples in public, but not women? Why? I demand we legalise the right for women to go topless. It's funny because actually I've kind of briefly gone through, I've skimmed the questions, and there's another one that actually links quite nicely onto this, so I'm wondering if I should ask that one afterwards. But basically the reason being, Alex, is that men's nipples have not been sexualized or overly sexualized like women's nipples have. Women's nipples are part and parcel of the package of boobies that men find so sexually appealing, which is why they can't go topless. I think it would be a dangerous thing for that to happen. I'm not saying I disagree with you, which I know might be a little bit of a sleazy thing to say, but yeah, it's because it's just not, you know, not really cool, I suppose. But I mean, some parts of the world is quite liberal, and some people do it. It's fine. But I guess it's a matter of respect. It's also a matter of the fact that we probably wouldn't be used to it. I think if suddenly women started walking around London topless, or, you know, wherever where it's not regular, it'd just get a lot of looks. People would start complaining, being like, oh, this is ridiculous. Why is this happening? I'm seeing women's nipples. What's going on? It's just not something we're used to. However, it continued to happen over and over again. You know, things might change. Things might change. People might deal with it. But that would be why. I think it's just the way that breasts have been sexualized, which I do personally find weird, considering, you know, in our earliest stages of life, we're pretty much, you know, with their food. They're to me, I do think when we sexualize breasts, you know, considering we suckle on them in the early days of our life, I also see it's like we sexualize plates and bowls, the vessels from which we eat and sustain ourselves. I find that strange. But nonetheless, it happens, so there you go. But thanks for the question, Alex. Next question comes in from Kelly B. Kelly B, the Spice Girl, who asks, why are there no Easter eggs in Germany? She's asked again, why are there no Easter eggs in Germany? You can buy chocolate rabbits and cheek eggs, apparently, but no Easter eggs. Why? I don't know why you can't. But I still question Germany in that regard. If anyone from Germany is watching this, can probably answer that, actually. Anyone at all. Anyone, just come in, let me know, that'd be awesome. And then I can, you know, we could forward that to Kelly and answer it for her. And skadoosh, there we have it, we've got the answer. Sorry, Kelly, still nothing. Next question, also from Kelly B. Wow, how can it make sense that when you cross the road, walking without the green man, you lose your driving license? I don't know, but the first logical thing that popped into my head was the simple fact that you're ignoring the rules of the road, so you can't be a very good driver if you can't even obey a simple rule such as red man stop, green man go. If you can't pay attention to that rule, then, you know, I mean, I know that doesn't really make sense, really, but in my head, logically, that would be the reasoning behind that decision. Wherever that law is, though, I'm not going there, ever, because that's bullshit. Thanks for the question, Kelly B, thank you. Right, James B, who has come in with a whole butt ton of questions here for me to ask. I love it. He's just, this guy is like, we should do a Words of Wisdom featuring James B, a special edition, where he asks all the questions. First question from James B. Why is it that a situation or series of circumstances that you perceive as bad can actually be the best thing that happened to you? I.e., I wouldn't be here unless this happened. These are the ways of the world, my friend. These are the ways that the world works. And this is actually why I believe, personally, that no matter what happens to you, it should always be taken on as a lesson or as a simple happenstance that you can take something from. I mean, obviously certain things happen and it sucks, and that is a shame. However, the most important thing that should be taken from it is the fact that it's leading you somewhere. You know, people say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, blah 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 blah. But it's true. It is true. And all the things that do happen to you, will happen for a particular reason, even if it's for you to learn something, to understand something, for you to take a different perspective on something. I've actually found that in my life, I find that often when I have a really strong opinion about something, and this is really strange actually, I'll have a really strong opinion about something, and then for some reason, within a certain space of time, maybe within that year of me saying something will happen that is completely random, not really a well, I think it's a coincidence, sorry, it's not really a forced event. Something will happen that will pretty much force me to think differently. And it happens so regularly that I actually almost deliberately put forward a perspective or an attitude so that so that I can wait. I can sit and go, right, I've said this, now I'm going to wait for something to change my mind, because I want my perspective to be changed. I want to see things differently, so that I can understand it better, you know? And I guess it is a matter of taking everything as it happens and going, there's something that I can take from this. There is definitely something that I can take from this. Even if it's something really stupid, really, really dumb, like, you know, I go into a bar or pub or club that I really don't like, and I knew I didn't like it, and then something bad happened, like I ended up getting in a fight or something. The lesson would be, if you knew that you shouldn't have gone in there, you didn't like it, just don't go in there. Next time you have that feeling, just don't do it, because this is why bad things happen. You know, and there'll be something really mundane and really trivial like that, but it's still relevant. So yeah, I guess why is a difficult question to answer, but I certainly will say that it's a way that we should all go through things. When we ask even bigger questions, why has this happened? Why has that happened? It's not a point wherein we need to point the blame at people or point at things and say that's why, but certainly just go, right, we'll learn from this and move on and understand it better for future happenstances. I hope that makes sense. I feel like that was a bit weird. I don't know if I can TLDR that answer, to be honest, so that we can learn from it. That'll be it. Cool. Right, next question in from James B. Oh, hang on. So, which would you be? Digidestin, Pokemon Master, Johnson. What's Johnson? Johnson, Jedi, superhero, or Barack Obama? I'd rather be a superhero myself. None of those things appeal to me that much. Really. No. Superhero it is. Thank you. James B comes back again. Is the penis on average the length of 3 thumbs? I don't know. No? There's so many theories about the length of dicks, and I find that preposterous, just because, you know, dicks are different. Either you got a good one or you don't. I don't know, man. I'm not really. I don't. Regardless of what you see in my videos, I don't actually spend that long thinking about dicks. I don't actually spend a lot of time thinking about them. So I'm gonna say, do you know what? I'm just gonna say, yeah. Let's add another theory into the box of theories about dick sizes and shapes and girth and shit. Yeah, your dick size is exactly the length of 3 of your thumbs, the right ones as well. Good. Next question, James B. If so, where is the starting point for the thumb? Oh, where the placeholder knuckle towards the wrist. From the knuckle. From the knuckle. Go with that. Alright? Now you sit at home and put your thumbs next to your dick all day. Good. Next question, James B. Why is hydrogen energy not commonplace yet? I haven't got a clue, mate. I mean, I wanna suggest that it's a matter of we are so obsessed with advancing, we're so obsessed with pushing forward that we ignore the present, we ignore the simplistic things of today and now. And I mean, I know this is a bit weird for me to do this. I'm going to use the example of Windows XP. We were on like Windows 8, I think. Was it Windows 8 before XP had actually been updated to be pretty much the best it could be, right? So Microsoft were basically trying to produce better things before they got the previous things right. And I think that was what was so cocked up with Windows Vista. They basically tried to create this wonderful new system, but they hadn't even got the present one right yet. And it's this, I love using that example because it's so relevant to me. Not relevant to me, it's so I guess prominent in my eyes, of the way that we try to push forward so often. We're constantly trying to move forward. Let's go, let's progress, let's do better, let's look to the future, la da da da. And it's like, well, we haven't even got our present sorted yet. I actually read, I don't know how true this is, I read it on the internet, so you just don't know. but it seems pretty bloody feasible to me. That apparently there are a lot of bags of wastage that we've left on the moon. I don't know how true that. Please, someone confirm that if that's true. I mean, because if that's true, I'm not surprised at all if that's true. I'm really not. But I was already thinking to myself, so if this is true, we're already dumping waste on a planet that we talk of wanting to inhabit at some point. We've not even thought about actually being able to live there yet properly. Like, seriously, but we're already dumping our waste on it. Wow. Well done. Well done. We can't solve our problems of wastage and resources and so on here. So we're going to move that problem over to another planet before we've even thought about how we're going to solve the problem here so that we can manage it there. Brilliant. Well done, us. Again, maybe even if it's not true, perhaps it's still relevant. But yeah, I don't know. But so to the answer, why is hydrogen energy not commonplace yet? Probably because we're too busy thinking about the future that we can't just kind of step back and look at it that way. Either that, or maybe there are certain companies out there who don't want it to be used for whatever reason, because it might be more efficient than their own or whatever. Yeah, I hope that makes sense in an answer, as I hope every answer makes sense to everyone. So yes, thank you. Next question: why did the chicken cross the road? Oh my God, that's so weird that you asked this, because I was talking about this yesterday at work. So, the chicken crossed the road. The theory is the chicken crossed the road, not necessarily to commit suicide, because it may not have the sentience to do that, but the answer being to get to the other side is a reference to death, the other side being death. So the chicken crossed the road to get to the other side is such as that it was looking to die. It crossed the road because it was only going to go one place, and that was to die. I mean, it's going to get hit by a car and die and end up on the other side. That was an answer I read somewhere, and I was like, that's blown my mind. That's incredible. So that's why the chicken crossed the road. I hope that helps. What is the square root of pi? I don't got a fucking clue. Don't ask me that. I'm not really in any mindset to answer that question, so I'm going to leave it there. Maybe Editing Dan will help out. Maybe. And now Editing Dan's going to hate me because I'm going to have to look this up, and I'm worried it's going to be massively complicated to answer. So I don't know. I don't know. Is sausage meat the best meat? No, not really. No, it doesn't come from the best animal. Cow's the best animal to eat, without a shadow of a doubt. It's superb. It's so versatile and great. Beef. Sausage meat is not the best meat. No. Why does America seem to feel like they should be involved in everything in the world? Oh God, I'm going to say this now. Well, fuck it. I'll just upset them. I don't care. Because America, with this wonderful sense of grandeur that they have, self-grandeur, I would say, they feel it is necessary. Their ego is so large that they feel it is necessary for them to be part of everything. I mean, there's good things about that, and there's not. Really not. But there really are good things about that. The one thing I do envy them, actually, is their what's the word now? Uncompromised pride that they have, that their country is great and so on. It's nice. I'm not saying it's nice when they're so patriotic it gets xenophobic or racist, but it's just nice that they have that unity as such. I feel like every country should have that, not again in an exclusive or excluding manner, but certainly in a manner of unity and pride and so on. I like that. But yeah, I think it is the matter that they feel themselves so superb as a nation, and they're trying to push forward to be greater and greater, that they have to be constantly remain present in everyone's affairs. It's common, because it's almost like advertising in a way. Like, they just want to be present, they just want to be there all the time, just being like, hi, we're over here, just so you don't forget that we exist, by the way, hello, we're Americans, hello. And and yeah, like, I don't know if it's necessary as such, but it just kind of all pays towards their being, you know, a great nation and so on and so forth. I think that's all it is. Advertising is the shortest answer to that question. Advertising. Why do they need to advertise? Because they want to remain as great as they believe they are. There we go. That's it. So next question: does she sells on the seashore? And at what price do you think Tesco would do a better deal? I'm going to do that in the opposite order, if that's okay. I'm going to do that in reverse order. Tesco's could do a better deal. Yes, they could pretty much do a better deal on anything. She sells them for more than Tesco sells them, and she can't sell them anymore because Tesco's undercut her in price, and it's pushed her market down, and she can't make any money. So now she sells her body on the streets. Okay. Do these questions make up for missing last week's episode? I guess so. Yeah, they are. They're going on. They are going on. So yes, thank you, James. They're making up for that. Although last week's episode was still quite long, so it's fine. Next question. Was Yorkshire named after the Yorkie bar? No, it was not. And I'm saying that with great confidence, although suddenly I'm like, well, it's not impossible, Dan. So I'm questioning myself automatically. No, it wasn't. Good. Next question. Are pandas racist? I don't know, actually. I don't know enough about pandas to know whether or not they're racist. I mean, they could be, because they're black and white, but there's no yellow or brown. There's no yellow or browns on there. So they could be, actually. If they were black and white, yellow and brown, and and, you know, all the colours, orange as well, you know, like tan people. And actually, they're white. They're not, you know, Caucasian white. White isn't actually white, it's pink. So that, you know, if they were pink as well, that would probably make it. So yeah, they are a bit racist, actually. They're exclusive of other colours. Unbelievable. Pandas are racist. Bullshit. Then porn or pot? Porn. I'm not really a pot smoker. I did it when I was. Well, I did it. I didn't even do it. I was the worst pot smoker in the world. Like I basically whited out all the time. I was just pathetic. I'd spend too much time in my head being like, am I high yet? Am I high yet? Am I high yet? And then my inner voice would shout really loud, almost like she was talking in my ear, and just go, yes, you're high, Dan. And I go, what? And I just basically ended up talking to myself, and I would freak the fuck out. So, yeah, no, porn. I'm fine with porn. Yeah, no pot for me, thank you. I'm good. What does love feel like, and why is the feeling of falling for someone first time so gut-wrenching? Because you're scared. You've never felt it before. It's a fearful feeling. You don't really know what to do with it. Also, I guess with all the tales of people going through a lot of pain and strife, and there's a lot of people saying, oh, you know, love can break your heart and it's the most dangerous thing in the world, yada yada yada. It's scary. It's a scary thing to go through, and actually the rejection of your love is quite daunting, and it's something I've actually spent a lot of time thinking about. I do passive research into it. I just kind of go with what I've seen, what I've read, what other people say, what a lot of people say about it, and I'll kind of build my own theory and conclusion from that. And I have to say, I don't understand why falling in love is a thing. I don't really understand what it is. Perhaps it's a combination of the fact that there's like 7 billion people on this planet, and the idea that that number's so great, and yet with every thing that we go through being different from person to person, we can have different perspectives, different ideas of things, different attitudes towards things, and yet we can meet someone who not only appeals to our eyes, something that we find actually attractive to look at, which our mind will not be able to control or comprehend, but at the same time we find someone who I don't know, arouses our thoughts and arouses everything. Well, arouses something in us that we just don't know, we don't understand. I guess that's what makes it so fascinating, because, you know, it just falling in love alone can just literally change the way you look at things. Much like being drunk, for example. Or actually, a theory I'm working with right now, much like being religious, I'm starting to actually see religion as being a form of emotion, just because it's not something that you can explain. It's not something that you can understand. Those people who are religious, I don't think it's something that can be easily understood, because of the way that they try to explain it. And if you've never really, perhaps if you've never been religious, or if you don't really want to, you wouldn't want to understand it. So people trying to explain it, it's just going to fall on deaf ears. Much like people who don't want to be in love, people who perhaps scared of love, or maybe even people who've been in love and it went so badly for them that they reject it and go, you know what, no, I'm anti-love, I don't want to fall in love. And there are people like that because it hurts so much, or because they had such a bad experience with it. And yeah, sorry, that's just the theory I'm working with. That's something I'm just playing around with in my head. But I guess it does. It's almost. I know that this might paint a massive mirror on my experience with love. But love is almost like a prison, in the sense that A prison with benefits. Maybe, is it Norway or somewhere? A prison with PlayStations. Love is a prison with PlayStations. Because you're in there and you actually think, like, you know what, this is alright. I like it here. It's not that bad, considering what I've heard about it. It's alright. Like, I get to watch Sky, I get to watch, like, I have my 3 meals a day, I get to play PlayStation. Like, to be honest, this is cool. I can deal with this. What they're ignoring is the outer world that judges them for being there, for one, because perhaps it's not the best place for them to be, and maybe might even damn them or condemn them for having such a relaxed and casual approach towards it. I don't know, maybe this is getting a little bit, no, this is getting convoluted now, but I'm gonna say, yeah, it's like prison, perspective based. Oh, you can't put it in words. Oh, it's unique, without a shadow of a doubt. It might feel like the loneliest thing in the world, but also the happiest thing in the world. It kind of feels like it'll make you the dumbest person in the world, but also the most enlightened person in the world. It just, you know, I'm just talking a load of fucking romantic bullshit right now. Yeah, it's no. I don't know. It's different for everyone, to be fair. All I know is that it basically makes you a parasite, essentially, because what it makes you feel like is you actually can't live without that person, and that is true. And to some points, that's true as well, because once that love's broken, because you spent so much time leeching your life force off that human being, when the love is broken, you don't actually know how to live, because you've spent so much time living off that person. This is painting a wonderful picture of my experience of love. This is just painting a full-grown picture right here. So yeah, this might explain also why it's so gut-wrenching. But I can't really go on more about that, because I'm just going around in circles in a confused manner, and I just think it'll just end up being a load of bullshit anyway. So yeah, I hope that answers something to you there, James. But that's that. So have you heard about the bird? They say it's the word. I've heard this too, but I don't know exactly what else there is to say on that matter, so I kind of move on. Why do we feel loss? I guess because we feel gain as well. Is that not fair? Yeah? The idea of possession comes with the, well, I guess the possibilities of loss. It's all essentially working on the yes and no's, the black and whites, the opposites. In order for us to feel lost, we have to feel gain. We have to feel like we've earned something or got something or achieved something. So yeah, we only feel lost because we achieve and we gain and we acquire, and that's that. That is that. So that's the end of James B's questions. Good God, wow. On to the next question. It comes in from Thorold D, who says, what was that order of gibberish you posted? Now, I have to explain here, I also have a little fun at work, wherein, like, servers and waiters' handwriting is so quick. It's like doctors' writing. It's so blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, it's secret code that we write on our pad. For some people, it becomes secret code that only we will understand and only we will see. So it could be, to someone, it could be a symbol, it could be a letter, it could be a word that's just written really quickly, but ultimately it ends up looking like gibberish. So I started taking pictures of people's orders and posting them on Facebook going, guess that order. And so in answer to the question, if I can remember, it was smoked salmon, there was a bisque on there, there was a tuna dish and a spaghetti dish. So that's what it is. In fact, I posted the answer in the post, so Thorold D, you can check it there. He comes back again and he said, why are you not answering the questions? Because this is the series, my friend! The series is Words of Wisdom. I don't answer the questions straight away. You've got to watch the episode to get the answers. I'm not going to sit here answering all your questions whenever they come up. I've got to answer them all at once, one time of the week, and that's how it works. That is how it works. Don't like it? Well, you just have to lump it. Thank you. Next question comes in from Emily D. Now, Emily D, I know Emily D, and another Spice Girl, Kelly B and Emily D. I know her personally, and she asks a lot of questions. So I actually kind of begged her to start asking me questions through this, because I wanted to share these questions with everyone else. Sometimes they are inspired and somewhat genius. I genuinely believe that if Emily D had all the answers to all the questions that she asked, she would one day be the smartest woman in the world. both through understanding facts and figures and so on, but also through understanding that by asking questions and getting answers, you start to see the world differently and perhaps better as well. So, Emily D has come in with a couple of questions. Do flies have knees? Yes. Yes, do flies have knees? Yes, they do. They do. It's very, oh, hello. It's very strange because it happened so quickly, but I think if you played a fly taking off in slow motion, you might see a little bit of bend and a little bit of push, and that will come from the knees flexing and extending for them to take off and begin the flight. Because I think this is correct. They can't just start flapping and take off. I think is that right? I think so. I think there's a tiny bit of a bounce, very, very, very minuscule. I might look this up actually and check it out. We'll see. But yes, why do people find boobs attractive? Here we go. Why do people find boobs attractive? Well, I got two answers to this. One, because, and inexplicably, they are just the single greatest thing ever. I just don't get it, and I still find it weird because it's still the thing that we fed from. It kind of creeps me out a little bit. I don't know why, but yeah, they're just magnificent things. I don't get it. I personally don't get it. I wonder whether it was something that happened, like in the way that they're sexualized, the way they're presented, the way that they are put forward to us. But then again, I mean, if you look back, I think to myself, well, it must have started from somewhere. Like, they kind of just suddenly decided that boobs were going to be sexy. They weren't sexy before, so advertising went, right, let's make boobs sexy. There must have been something about them that made them appealing. And what scares me is I think it may have something to do with the early stages of life where we are. They're kind of a source of nourishment and sustenance. What that link is, I don't know. But yeah. I mean, I guess because girls have them, they just get used to them. Much like with guys. I mean, we have dicks, and I'm not saying anything about natural or anything like that, because obviously I have to consider sexuality and so on. But if we look down the vanilla ice cream, the square box of things, so if you look at heterosexuality as such, men have dicks, so they probably just get used to them. So they don't really see them as sexual things. They're just like, well, it's just a dick. There's nothing really special about it. I've got one. I've got balls as well. Woohoo! I mean, I'm going to get excited about it. Women don't have them, so I guess it's why they maintain this kind of novelty value of them and go, oh, dicks. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's what women do. Oh, dicks. I doubt it. But I guess it's because of the way they're presented, and there's something in the way that they're yeah. I don't know. I don't really want to think about it because the answer to that actually does scare me a little bit. I don't want to look it up because I'm worried I'm suddenly just going to not be attracted to boobs anymore, and that's just something I'm scared of. I just don't like the idea of that. Yeah. So I'm going to leave it there. I think later on actually it probably links to porn. I think a lot of young men and women as well, I suppose, watch porn. And I think perhaps the way that they're presented in pornography, again, in any sexualized manner, it just kind of reinforces it and pushes forward, that idea that boobs are sexy. And so it stays that way. So I mean, I hope that answers your question, Emily. Thanks for asking. Are clouds part of space? I think clouds represent the line between the space and where the sky ends, if that makes sense. Because clouds form through the change in climate, change in temperature, and so on. And I think that would be the beginning of where space kind of starts to begin. Obviously, you have low clouds and high clouds and so on, which again is determined by the climate in that particular area and temperatures and moisture and words and science. But this is where schooling really comes in handy. Anyone who asks me, what's the point in school? This is the point in school, ladies and gentlemen. This is why. But no, clouds are part of space. Yes and no. I think it all depends on exactly where they're formed and how thick they are, and maybe even what colour they are, because you have dark clouds and light clouds and so on. Yes and no, and I hope that's a good enough answer for you. And then finally, from Emily D, is it possible for animals to have special needs? I think for any living creature that has a brain, a brain, you know, being a very complicated mixture of flesh and nerves and let's say microtransactions taking place, and maybe, you know, little electrodes passing back and forth, bits of information on it, there's always a possibility that something can go wrong somewhere in there, just because of the absolute complication of the brain. I think yes, absolutely, it's possible for animals to have special needs, because all it would take for something to, let's say, be special needs would be for some part of the brain to not work up to scratch, let's say. And I hope I haven't offended anyone, but I guess that's the safest way and the clearest way to put it. For the brain to not work up to scratch, then yeah, I would say so. Perhaps it might not be clear to us because we haven't really seen the full extent of animals' brains. We haven't seen exactly what they're capable of yet. But I genuinely, I solidly believe that they could have special needs because they still have brains, and that's clear, which means that having a brain pretty much would dictate that one animal out of the many there are could actually have a defect. So yeah. Yes, animals do have special needs and certainly could do. And probably more than even we're aware of. So yes, that's my answer. Right, on to Reddit now, where Flugible has come back with a few questions. And we'll start from here. So, he asks, how big? I'm not telling you that. Next question. Is it okay for my boyfriend to shave my legs? Yes. Yes, it is. That's absolutely fine. I mean, don't expect your sex life to get any better if that happens. I mean, I'll be honest, you know, if my girlfriend asked me to shave her legs, I'd probably be like, no. I learned early on, actually, that there are, no matter how liberal you think or how, you know, freely you believe human beings should exist together and so on, there are just certain barriers that shouldn't be crossed, much like, you know, watching them pee, watching them use a toilet, watching them go about certain activities, because that will kill the relationship, whether you like it or not. At some point, it'll just numb down the relationship you feel. You know, you can only smell your partner's shit so many times, and it's a love killer. It is a love killer. So yeah, yeah. I'd say it's okay as long as you don't mind that relationship not lasting forever. Next question. Do my feet smell like cheese? Depends what kind of cheese, but I'm going to say yes. Do you do a lot of walking? If so, yes. And why do your feet smell... why do my feet smell like cheese? Probably because A, you don't wash them, B, you're probably not wearing the right kind of shoes, you walk around a lot. Maybe you should wear socks when you put your shoes on. Many possible answers I'll give you there. Sorry, it was why, not do my feet smell like cheese. Why do they? Why do your feet smell like cheese? Well, because I'm accepting that they do. But because I spend a lot of my time on my feet, and I don't get to change my shoes often during the day, and so, you know, when I take my shoes off, unfortunately, they are going to have a rather tasty pong. There's a lovely twang in the smell of my feet at the end of the day, and oh, it's just magnificent. It's wonderful. It really brings me back to life. Really wakes me up. I think if I fell asleep and took my shoes off at the same time, I wouldn't fall asleep, which is a weird thing to say, but I hope that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah. And why does ink taste so darn good? I don't know. I think that's an acquired taste, sir, and I suggest you stop doing that straight away. Thank you very much, Flugible. Thanks for the questions. On to finally the needs. One last question, which is actually a repeat question. Not from the same person, from a distant person, but the same question. And I had to make an executive decision as to whether or not I'm going to answer repeat questions. And I'm going to say no, but I'll answer this one because he's a new follower on the needs, so I'm going to allow this one. Alberno, hello, sir. He says, if you could have any superpower, what power would you have and why? Now, I'll give you my original answer. My original answer was the power of foresight, where I could see into the future after making particular decisions so that I can decide whether or not that decision is a good decision to make. That's that superpower. But as you've asked it again, I don't want to give the same answer. I'm going to give a different answer. That doesn't mean you all come back with the same question again, thinking I'm going to get a different answer. No, it's not going to happen. The superpower, let's see, another superpower I would have. I would love to be able to know every single word on the planet. I would love to have the vocabulary of this earth, and that would include animals as well, and all of them. I want to be able to communicate with fucking everything, and not necessarily in a manner. I guess maybe the downside. Obviously, every superpower has to have a like an Achilles heel, if you like. So the superpower would be that. Let's say that the Achilles heel of the superpower. Sorry. Let's see what it would be. Ooh, what would it be? What would it be? What would it be? So I could talk to anything. No, not that. What would it be? Okay. No, that's okay. So I could communicate with anything on the planet, but I'm trying to think of something about the way that I would communicate would either drain me or drain them, depending on how much information was revealed. Like if there was a certain amount of information revealed, like it drains them to communicate with people. No, that's weird. That's stupid. No, that's rubbish. That's a rubbish Achilles heel. Someone think of an Achilles heel to the superpower of being able to communicate with everything on this fucking planet. Someone think of that, because that would be cool. That would be my superpower. I'd be able to talk to everything. I mean, I know that's a bit dull to have an ultimatum in a superpower, but fuck off, Superman. Kiss my ass. So yeah. Yeah, I'd like to be able to communicate with everything. That would be a really cool superpower for me to have. I'd love that as well. So thank you very much, Alberno, and that is the end of this episode of Words of Wisdom. It's been an interesting one, I have to say. It's been very interesting. But I hope everyone's happy with their responses. Leave a comment down below if you think it hasn't quite done it for you. But nonetheless, guys, thank you very much for taking part. I will see you all next week for another episode of Words of Wisdom. But other than that, I will see you tomorrow for another episode of I Play Games and Film It. You guys are all wonderful. Be wonderful. Stay wonderful. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care and bye-bye.
Words of Wisdom.